Welcome to Pi News World, where we bring you the most up-to-date news, analysis, and insights about Pi Network. Our mission is to provide the Pi community with clear and factual information, helping both newcomers and long-term pioneers stay informed. We focus on delivering honest updates and thoughtful perspectives, so you can better understand the current state and future potential of Pi Network. By staying connected, you'll be empowered to make informed decisions as the Pi ecosystem continues to evolve. The question of whether 100 Pi coins can buy a house has become one of the most discussed and controversial topics among Pi network enthusiasts. At the heart of this debate lies the concept of global consensus value, or GCV, which represents a community-driven agreement on Pi's potential worth in a fully developed ecosystem. Supporters see GCV as a visionary standard that could one day enable significant purchases, like real estate, using Pi. However, skeptics argue that such valuations are speculative and not grounded in current market realities. This section examines both perspectives and explains why GCV is central to the ongoing conversation about Pi's future value. Pi Network was founded by a group of Stanford PhDs with the vision of creating a global, inclusive digital currency. Unlike traditional cryptocurrencies that often require expensive hardware and technical expertise, Pi Network enables users to mine coins directly from their mobile phones, making participation accessible to everyday people. This approach sets Pi apart by prioritizing ease of use and real-world utility rather than catering solely to large investors or institutions. The project aims to build a peer-to-peer digital economy where Pi can be used for everyday transactions, reflecting its commitment to practical adoption and widespread engagement. The Global Consensus Value, or GCV, is a concept developed within the Pi network community to represent a shared vision of Pi's potential value in a mature digital economy. The most widely discussed GCV is $314,159 per Pi, a figure inspired by the mathematical constant P and the ambition for Pi to become a global digital currency. This number has become a focal point for debate, with some viewing it as a symbol of future financial breakthrough and others questioning its realism. While GCV is not an official exchange rate, it reflects the community's long-term expectations based on adoption, utility, and trust in the network. The ongoing discussion around GCV highlights both the optimism and the challenges involved in establishing a new standard of value for digital assets. If the global consensus value, or GCV, of $314,159 per Pi coin were ever realized, the implications would be extraordinary. Mathematically, 100 Pi coins would amount to over $31 million. With this kind of purchasing power, one could afford luxury homes, commercial properties, or even multiple real estate investments in most parts of the world. While this scenario is purely theoretical and depends on the full adoption and utility of Pi within a mature ecosystem, it highlights the immense potential value that supporters envision for the currency. However, it's important to remember that such valuations are not reflective of Pi's current market price or real-world acceptance today. The Global Consensus Value, or GCV, envisions a future where Pi coin reaches extraordinary heights, but it's important to compare this idea with today's crypto market realities. Currently, Pi trades at a fraction of the GCV, reflecting its early-stage adoption and limited real-world utility. History shows that both Bitcoin and Ethereum were initially met with skepticism and low valuations before their widespread acceptance drove significant price increases. Value in the cryptocurrency world is not established overnight. It is built gradually through trust, utility, and mass adoption. The journey from vision to reality requires patience, ongoing development, and a strong, engaged community. The long-term vision for Pi Network extends far beyond simple digital transactions. Imagine a future where real estate can be priced and purchased directly in Pi, eliminating the need for traditional fiat currencies. This transformation would be made possible by smart contracts and blockchain technology, ensuring secure, transparent, and automated property transfers. In such an ecosystem, buyers and sellers could agree on property values using Pi itself, supported by decentralized ownership records. If realized, this approach could redefine how we think about value exchange and asset ownership in the digital age. For 100 Pi coins to realistically purchase a house, several critical conditions must be met. First, Pi Network must achieve mass adoption, with millions of users actively using Pi in their daily transactions. The ecosystem also needs to expand, including the development of marketplaces, applications, and services that accept Pi as payment. Real-world utility is essential, meaning Pi must be widely used to buy goods and services, from groceries to real estate. Finally, lasting trust in Pi as a reliable store of value must be established, encouraging both buyers and sellers to confidently use Pi for significant transactions like home purchases. Supporters of the Global Consensus Value, or GCVAI, view Pi Network as a transformative alternative to traditional fiat currencies. They argue that while fiat money often loses value over time due to inflation, a widely adopted digital currency like Pi could appreciate as its utility and user base expand. In this vision, Pi is not just competing with other cryptocurrencies, but with established monetary systems. Advocates believe that in a fully developed Pi economy, holding even a modest amount of Pi could represent generational wealth, similar to early adopters of Bitcoin. This perspective is grounded in the idea that value is created through widespread trust, real-world usage, and a robust ecosystem supporting everyday transactions. At present, the idea that 100 Pi coins can purchase a house is not grounded in reality. Pi Network remains in its early stages, with its ecosystem and real-world adoption still developing. The much-discussed global consensus value is a long-term vision, not an official or current exchange rate. For pioneers, the most practical approach is to focus on patience and preparation, completing KYC, securing mainnet migration, and learning about Pi's evolving applications. While the future holds potential, today's value and utility of Pi are still limited, making careful planning essential for those invested in its growth. For Pi holders looking to prepare for the future, several practical steps can make a significant difference. Completing the KYC process is essential to ensure your coins are eligible for mainnet migration and future use. It's also important to secure your Pi by following best practices for wallet safety and keeping your credentials private. Take time to learn about the growing Pi ecosystem, including its applications and marketplaces, to understand where real opportunities may arise. Finally, avoid making emotional decisions or panic selling, as long-term patience and informed choices often yield the best outcomes in emerging technologies. In weighing the risks and rewards of believing in the global consensus value, it's important to remain both optimistic and realistic. While the vision of Pi Network presents unique opportunities for early adopters, its future success is not assured. The potential for significant gains exists, but so do the challenges of widespread adoption and real-world utility. Ultimately, those who prepare thoughtfully and stay informed position themselves best to benefit if Pi Network achieves its ambitious goals. As with any emerging technology, understanding both the possibilities and the uncertainties is key to making wise decisions. In summary, the idea that 100 Pi coins could buy a house depends on which perspective you consider. Mathematically, if the global consensus value of $314,159 per Pi were realized, 100 Pi would be worth over $31 million, enough to purchase multiple luxury properties. However, under current market conditions, Pi's actual exchange value is far lower, and such transactions are not yet possible. Looking to the future, the potential for Pi to achieve this level of utility and value relies on widespread adoption, ecosystem growth, and trust. Ultimately, Pi Network remains an ambitious experiment in creating global digital value, with its true potential still unfolding.